Hello and welcome to the evening news for Monday, April 28, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry gets underway. Man murders wife, commits suicide after at enterprise. Woman appeals for assistance after good fortune home goes up in flames. CFTF says a dark future looms for Guyana if AML CFTF bill not passed. And Guyana mourns the passing of Ronald Webster. Now for the news in detail. Senior Counsel and Commissioner of the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry, Sino Jairam, has contended that the Guyana Police Force back in the 1980s could have done a fairly better job at laying charges against the murder accused, Gregory Smith, given all the evidence that was presented. More from Alexis Rodney.
It was while the first witness, Crime Chief Leslie James, was given evidence that Counsel Jairam raised the concerns. Leslie, in his testimony to the Commission, described the role he played in the gathering and dissemination of evidence provided by the Working People's Alliance and the Criminal Investigation Department. Together, the evidence compiled in 1980 amounted to 6 files. The files were tendered as exhibits at the hearing. Special focus was placed on the report coming out of then government pathologist Leslie Mutu, who found that Rodney had died an unnatural death. Evidence was also tendered by 2 foreign consultant pathologists, Drs. Hugh Johnson and Frank Suez, who in their report had confirmed that the historian was murdered.
So the point is, the police had forensic opinion that the cause of death was unnatural in 1980.
Yes.
And I think those of us who are lawyers understand, once the police has that sort of information in relation to the death of any person, man, woman or child, the police will investigate how that person met his or her death. Am I right?
Correct, sir.
What is puzzling me at the moment is there seems to have been some sort of paralysis on the part of the police in concluding the investigation of Dr. Rodney's death in an expeditious manner based on what you say. Is that a fair assessment or unfair assessment? It's very provisional.
Well, in terms of being fair, I know matters which death is occasioned are usually inquired into and dealt with in a swift manner.
Yeah.
But there are also some investigation that will take a long time to investigate.
James read the report, which stated that Rodney was sitting in a stationary vehicle with his legs crossed and had a wooden box on his lap. Jairam questioned the reason for the police waiting 16 years for charges to be laid on the former electronics expert Gregory Smith, when all evidence pointed that he was in fact responsible for Rodney's death.
The absence of explosive on the hands of Dr. Rodney may or may not be significant. Its absence may indicate that he was not assembling a device or had not recently assembled a device. Any explosive which may have been present at the time could have been lost during the first post-mortem. The hands were very wet and at the time of my examination were lying in the exposed parts of the abdomen. The label part item 61 is typical of that found on a battery supplied to me by the GDF force in Georgetown.
James said he could not explain since he joined the force as a constable some 6 years after Rodney's death. However, based on the files he had perused, there was sufficient evidence to lay charges against Gregory Smith. Smith had been fingered as the tool used by the PNCR government to kill former co-founder of the Working People's Alliance, Dr. Walter Rodney. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Alexis Rodney joins us again to report that Walter Rodney's older brother, Edward, will tomorrow lead a list of 8 witnesses as the probe into his brother's death continues at the Supreme Court building.
The older Rodney was scheduled to give evidence today. However, due to time constraint, his testimony has been pushed to tomorrow morning. His testimony tomorrow will entail a detailed account of the sequence of events which took place 3 days after Rodney's death, including his arrest by the Guyana Police Force. Rodney, in an open pronouncement, registered his family's gratefulness that the inquiry has finally come to the fore. According to him, closure will be had. According to the Commission's lead counsel, Glenn Hanneman, other witnesses to give evidence include Father Malcolm Rodrigues, who will testify about the prevailing political environment at the time, the early beginnings of the pressure groups, the atmosphere of the political meetings held by Dr. Rodney during the late 1970s, and him identifying Rodney's body at the mortuary. According to Hanneman, Karen D'Souza, who was closely linked to the late Dr. Rodney, will also be testifying at the inquiry.
She will speak about events on the 13th of June 1980. She will testify about her interaction with Donald Rodney and her observations of his personal injuries and state of mind minutes after the explosion. She will also tell us what she observed at the scene of the explosion minutes after the incident. And if we're lucky, we will also get her to speak about her activities as a WPA activist, or an element, as she describes herself.
Two other witnesses have opted to remain anonymous, citing security concerns as the main reason.
We will hear about surveillance work carried out by the squad, including the attendance of the squad at WPA meetings. He will speak of his personal assignment to infiltrate the WPA and to carry out acts of subterfuge and assassination. He will also speak of his having to report to Laurie Lewis, Cecil Skip Roberts, and Norman McLean, and taking directions from them as the intellectual authors.
Other witnesses include Reverend Reuben Gilbert, trade unionist Lincoln Lewis, and of the Guyana Defense Force. The first sessions of the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry will come to an end on May 2. According to Chairman Sir Richard Cheltenham, before the end of the 4-day session, he will indicate when the other session will commence. He noted that the Commission is working toward a 2-week session. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the People's National Congress, Basil Williams, has confirmed that the party will participate in the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry while holding its ground that it will not cooperate with the body. Here's Alexis Rodney with the details.
Williams sought to clarify the misconception that the party had said that it will not be participating in the inquiry. According to him, what the party did say was that it was not prepared to cooperate with the Commission, given the fact that the issues with Senior Counsel Sinoth Jairam, in terms of reference number 4, were not addressed.
We said we would not cooperate with the Commission. That cooperation means working together with the achieve an end, because we couldn't work together with the Commission to achieve an end pursuant to terms of reference 4. You know, we have invaded against the term of reference 4. We feel as though we're trying to exercise that particular term of reference. We said we would not cooperate in the sense of sending members to give evidence and officials going to give evidence and like that. But we must protect our interests as a party. So we will be representing our interests, participating in the inquiry, the conduct of the inquiry, to represent the interests of the People's National Congress.
Williams was speaking with journalists during the break on day 1 of the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry. He said that the party still has some concerns about the way in which the inquiry is being run.
But we wish to reiterate that to have a term of reference in that, like term of reference 4, really cannot assist the question of closure for the Rodney family. We agree that Mrs. Rodney and her family, the Rodney family, should have closure. But when you have the ability to get a pardon, we haven't heard anything about if a person who testifies and who therefore ipso facto be pardoned. What if he fingers a third party? We haven't heard him saying anything what happens to that.
But the PNCR leader, David Granger, had informed that the party would not be participating in the inquiry. Granger had told this newscast that because Head of State President Donald Ramotar had done nothing to address the issues raised, the party had opted out of the investigation. He said that by having TOR 4, the government is presuming that the persons in command and superintendent of the certain forces have some culpability. The matter, he said, was discussed among the party's executive, and a decision was taken that it will not be participating in the inquiry. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
A 27-year-old woman is now counting her losses after a mid-afternoon fire destroyed her one-bedroom house, marking the commencement of another period of trial in her life. More from Michael Young.
The already troublesome life of 27-year-old Tamika Miller Patterson just got harder, even though she was on her way to recovery after being stabbed more than 27 times by her now-deceased husband this year. Patterson's one-bedroom home at Lot 18 Good Fortune, West Bank, Demerara was reduced to debris after a fire on Sunday which occurred as a result of a transformer exploding in the area. The incident occurred around 14:30 hours. No one was at home at the time. Patterson has lost all of her household appliances and belongings and has been thrown into a state of frustration and anguish following the fire. When this newscast arrived on the scene, the woman's aunt told us what she knew of the incident, explaining that by the time they arrived there, the house was already destroyed.
Well, we get a call from Station Street that her place on fire. But when we came over, it was already burned down. So we just completed and they started waiting on the fire was there and they take a statement from us, and then they call GPL come and cut off the wires. And they just go away.
The fire also threatened a nearby house, but swift action by its occupants resulted in the structure being spared any significant damage.
It was around 2 a.m. and now 2:30 and loud explosion, and I run to the back door and I look out. This fire, start shout fire. Then some people come around and we start a bucket bridge and we start trying to save this house.
Unfortunately, some materials that Miller had bought to repair the home were also destroyed in the fire. She had only this month received financial assistance from Habitat for Humanity and Quartz Guyana to assist her until the home was renovated. The two entities had also given their commitment to refurbishing parts of the home so that Patterson could at least have a comfortable place to call her home. This was her reaction earlier at a small ceremony to present her with the kind gesture.
Nobody never done nothing for me. I just know about working hard for what I want. I just want to tell a woman, the women nowadays, that look out for certain signs, because I didn't expect this. He wasn't a man like this.
Speaking with this newscast today, Patterson said that she is unsure what her next moves are after the fire, but remained hopeful that more good Samaritans would come along to render assistance.
When we get called, we also put on but when we come, it's already born, because it's all outside born quick. But the fireman is still went through.
She said her life has now been struck by a double tragedy and wants things to return to normalcy. She wants peace and tranquility as well. But in the meantime, she is committed to continuing her therapy.
I can't really get the nerve damage, so I can't go again. Can't pick up something. Nighttime I can't sleep. I use sleeping tablet.
Patterson is ready for a new start, the second time round. For the Evening News, Michael Young reporting.
This is the Evening News. Stay tuned. More news ahead. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. In this report, you'll hear that 2 children are now parentless after their father killed their mother and subsequently took his life.
A laborer who was due to make a court appearance today to answer to the charge of assault decided to take the law into his own hands on Sunday by killing his wife and then hanging himself. Dead are Nandini Mohan, 24, and Vikram Ramdim, 34, of Section C Enterprise, East Coast Demerara. According to information received, the woman was constantly abused by her husband and would have made several reports to the police. When this newscast visited the scene of the gruesome murder, one neighbor related what happened leading up to the incident on Sunday night.
He just heard screaming, and then when he come out, he said he hung himself in there.
What time was this?
Like around 9:30, 10 o'clock time.
So since then she was dead?
Yeah.
And who when the police find the body?
Our family came.
Family came?
Mm-hmm.
So the man at Ari hung himself?
Mm-hmm.
And where are your children? How much children do you have?
2. Apparently they stay with their grandmother, no, aunt, or uncle.
And you know the ages of children?
Huh?
The ages of children?
Less than 10.
Pardon me?
Less than 10 probably, because they attend primary school.
2 boys or 2 girls? So, can you tell us about the family that's called all the time, or?
We don't usually hear anything, but yes, they have disputes.
They have disputes very often? And has he beaten her before?
There was an incident last year when apparently he tried to kill her and she ran and jumped over the thing and come into our yard. Went down there though.
What happened on that occasion? What happened then?
And then there's like rumors going around and stuff that how she tried to kill him the other day. He tried to kill her, and then the people on the end they came and something, and some court story or something.
Ramdin's sister reportedly went to the couple's home, and as she entered the house, found her brother hanging from the rafters of the living room. Further checks revealed the body of her sister-in-law under the bed in the bedroom shared by the couple. The couple had been married for 5 years, and their union bore 2 children. Reports are that the man was recently charged for assault and was due to make his court appearance at the Vigilance Magistrates Court, but instead he strangled the woman with a bed sheet and then committed suicide. The police have launched an investigation.
Guyana can be formally blacklisted by the Financial Action Task Force if the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Amendment Bill is not passed by the last and final deadline of May 29 given by the regional watchdog. The details from Gomati Gangadan.
A Partnership for National Unity Member of Parliament Basil Williams, immediately after meeting with the CFAT-F chairperson Alison Maynard Gibson, disclosed that the opposition was informed by the regional body of the draconian circumstances which Guyana will face if the AML-CFT Amendment Bill of 2013 is not passed.
Guyana comes up for review by CFAT-F on the 29th of May. It is important to note that the team has indicated to us the perils that are associated with being blacklisted. And the picture that they painted seems to be some very draconian. And we were assured that they have advised the government equally of those perils. And we trust that the government would understand how important it is, and that the greater damage could not lie in refusing to assent to the in assenting to the bills that were not assented by the president, and the passage of the amendments, the few amendments that we have to the Parent Act. And so we trust that good sense will prevail in this matter, and that the government will see the light of day and agree to the conditions and meet them of the APNU and the AFC.
APNU's co-chairman Dr. Rupert Rupnarayan noted that while the CFATF was in Guyana to assist in the passage, much cannot be achieved since the team can only give advice on technical matters.
Chairperson of CFATF, she was very careful to say that they were available to the select committee or to Guyana in relation to assistance of technical matters. And she continued to maintain for the duration of the meeting that their intervention or help could not go beyond the technical. The fact of the matter is that we are confronted in Guyana with more than technical problems. In fact, I think we went so far as to say that the technical issues that were preventing the passage of the bill were eminently soluble. They were not gross problems, or problems that could be resolved, but that in essence we have a political crisis and it requires a political solution. This was not her mandate at all.
Asked whether the opposition will now give in to the government demands to have the amendment passed in its original state to avoid permanent blacklisting, Greenwich colleague MP Bernal Balkan stated that the opposition remains firm on its position, contending that it is now left up to the government to decide whether they will accept the changes made by the opposition. The politicians noted that while there is a possibility that the bill can be passed before the May 29th deadline, it is very unlikely to happen. Guyana has thus far failed to meet any of the CFATF's deadlines due to the non-passage of the AML-CFT bill. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Gomiti Gangden.
Jovera Park on the west bank of Demerara has not been cleaned since Easter Monday, and residents say its immediate environs are an eyesore. Gabriela Patram reports.
The Evening News visited the ground today, and there were countless food boxes, broken bottles and animals ripping through bags on the ground in search of food particles at Jovera Park. Subsequent investigations by this newscast revealed that the park has not been cleaned or cleared since Easter Monday, when the last mega event and concert were held. This newscast also made contact with the Regional Democratic Council for Region 3 and was told that the park does not fall under the RDC directly, but it is the responsibility of the National Parks Commission, more so the upkeeping of the ground. On Easter Monday, tolls were collected from patrons going to use the park to fly their kites, so as to offset the cost of cleaning the park the day after. There are now more questions than answers about where the money went and why the park was not cleaned. This newscast tried to contact the National Parks Commission for an interview or comment in respect to the park, but efforts proved futile. For the Evening News, I'm Gabriela Patram.
The Justice for All party, led by C.N. Sharma, today announced its willingness to rejoin a partnership for national unity, but said the coalition must state clearly how it will handle the rape allegations levied against the leader. Svetlana Marshall reports.
Former member of the National Assembly, Jaipal Sharma, said the Justice for All party is open to negotiations with the Partnership for National Unity, APNU, on future elections. The Justice for All party severed ties with APNU in April after Education Minister Priya Manikchand heckled Sharma on the rape allegations leveled against his father. If the party is to reunite with the coalition, key answers must be given, Sharma said.
One possibility when we go have dialogue is what will happen in the future if Mr. C.N. Sharma is still alive. Are we going to go into this new partnership for the election? What they would do when a minister uttered these words, what stance they will take.
Sharma expressed disappointment that none of the APNU frontbenchers sitting in the House during the 2014 national budget debate stood to his defense when the Education Minister referenced to him.
I didn't just say that. Is the Chief Whip of the PPPC, Gail Teixeira, and the Honourable Minister, Priya Manichan, said they did not say anything when it was set for. So why keep nice and protest and walk out? I did not say that. Is the PPP say that? The PPP was saying further that they had discussion with Joe Harman, and Joe Harman agreed. 3 times Gail said, she said to Joe Harman, if you agree. Now, if I don't know if Joe Harman was offended with the comment, so why I wasn't there, why Joe was there.
Nevertheless, to register its independence, the Justice for All party today formally opened its constituency office at Robb Street. The party is hoping to increase its presence in Regions 3 and 4 to win at least 1 seat each at the regional level when elections are held in Guyana again. The next general election is set for 2017.
The Guyana Gold and Diamond Miners Association is advocating for an efficient and expeditious police investigation into claims of gold tampering so that business at the Guyana Gold Board can return to normalcy. More in this report.
A Partnership for National Unity Member of Parliament Basil Williams, immediately after meeting with the CFAT-F chairperson Alison Maynard Gibson, disclosed that the opposition was informed by the regional body of the draconian circumstances which Guyana will face if the AML-CFT Amendment Bill of 2013 is not passed.
Guyana comes up for review by CFAT-F on the 29th of May. It is important to note that the team has indicated to us the perils that are associated with being blacklisted. And the picture that they painted seems to be some very draconian. And we were assured that they have advised the government equally of those perils. And we trust that the government would understand how important it is and that the greater damage could not lie in refusing to assent to the in assenting to the bills that were not assented by the president and the passage of the amendments, the few amendments that we have to the Parent Act. And so we trust that good sense will prevail in this matter and that the government will see the light of day and agree to the conditions and meet them of the APNU and the AFC.
APNU's co-chairman Dr. Rupert Roopnarine noted that while the CFATF was in Guyana to assist in the passage, much cannot be achieved since the team can only give advice on technical matters.
Chairperson of CFATF, she was very careful to say that they were available to the select committee or to Guyana in relation to assistance of technical matters. And she continued to maintain for the duration of the meeting that their intervention or help could not go beyond the technical. The fact of the matter is that we are confronted in Guyana with more than technical problems. In fact, I think we went so far as to say that the technical issues that were preventing the passage of the bill were eminently soluble. They were not gross problems. There were problems that could be resolved. But that in essence we had a political crisis and it requires a political solution. This was not her mandate at all.
Asked whether the opposition will now give in to the government demands to have the amendment passed in its original state to avoid permanent blacklisting, Greenwich colleague MP Bernal Balkan stated that the opposition remains firm on its position, contending that it is now left up to the government to decide whether they will accept the changes made by the opposition. The politicians noted that while there is a possibility that the bill can be passed before the May 29th deadline, it is very unlikely to happen. Guyana has thus far failed to meet any of the CFATF's deadlines due to the non-passage of the AML-CFT bill. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Gomiti Gangadin.
This is the Evening News. Stay tuned. More still ahead. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. The People's Progressive Party Civic today praised the Abraham Zulz Secondary School for its outstanding performance in the 2014 Science, Mathematics and Technology Fair. More from Svetlana Marshall.
People's Progressive Party Civic General Secretary Clement Roy commended the Education Ministry for the successful staging of the 2014 Science, Mathematics and Technology Fair, but was keen on singling out the Abraham Zulz Secondary School for reigning supreme in the overall competition. The Abraham Zulz Secondary School on the Essequibo Coast emerged winner in both the oral presentation and the Best Project categories at the national competition. In the industrial category, the school created a Huss particle board factory.
This is the most laudable performance given the fact that the school until recently was not considered as one of the high achievers both by national and regional standards. The fact that the school was successful in producing the overall best CXC student in Guyana and the Caribbean and has now excelled at the 2014 National Science, Mathematics and Technology Fair speaks to the enormous strides the school has made.
The Taymont Manor Primary School of Region 2 copped the first place for Best Oral Presentation in the primary category. Singling out Region 2, Roy said the district continues to perform exceptionally in the area of academics.
The party has taken note of the fact that Region 2 has emerged as the best region in the competition and urged the region to continue to strive for excellence in the quality of education delivery.
With the successful staging of the fair, the party is now urging students and teachers to continue to advance in the areas of science and technology.
The PVP is of the view that the future of Guyana is inextricably linked to the utilization of advances made in science and technology. It is in this context that the party urges our students, teachers, and education administrators to spare no effort to encourage and create an environment that is conducive to the development of the full creative and innovative potential of our students at the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels.
The Science, Mathematics and Technology Fair was held at Yana Regina Secondary School on Friday under the theme Science, Mathematics and Technology, Providing Solution for the 21st Century. The 4-day fair saw the showcasing of creative, innovative and resourceful projects geared at stimulating students' interest in sciences and technology.
In this report, we'll hear now that stricter laws to protect the environment will be implemented shortly.
New laws relating to environmental issues will be more austere upon implementation. This was said by Minister of Labour Nanda Gopal while he was speaking at the Occupational Safety and Health Conference today.
We have a series of regulations already crafted. Some are lying at the AG chambers so that we can gazette them and ensure that we bring them to work consistent with our Occupational Health and Safety Act so that you can effectively police and prosecute. And very shortly, I've already spoken to the Attorney General, and very shortly we hope that we'll be able to send all these pieces with a view to having them speedily gazetted and put into use, put them into law.
The minister stated that these laws are the result of the improper disposal of garbage by citizens that are extremely hazardous to health and urged citizens to comply with these rules.
If each one of us take pride in our environment and keep it clean, we will continue to keep it clean. And if the NDCs can chip in by picking up of the garbage, it will be much easier. But the responsibility is ours. The responsibility is ours.
Reporting for the Evening News, Gomati Gangadin.
Tourism Minister Irfan Ali says that the late chairman of the Private Sector Commission, Ronald Webster, lived an exceptional life. Let's find out more in this report.
As tributes poured in for the late chairman of the Private Sector Commission, Ronald Webster, Acting Tourism Minister Irfan Ali says that Webster lived an exceptional life in service to the private sector and the people of Guyana. Ali also noted that Webster's passing would leave a definite void in the PSC. He further related that Webster had a clear vision as to where he would like to see Guyana, underscoring that Webster was unyielding in his endeavors. He said Webster also made immeasurable contributions to the National Competitive Council and the National Competitive Steering Committee, on which he was an active member. He added that the late chairman was cleared, unbiased and fair, and always offered constructive criticism. Webster passed away on Sunday morning at the Balwant Singh Hospital while recovering from a medical operation. For the Evening News, I'm Gabriela Patram.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. In the courts, a New Amsterdam businessman, Charles Bristol Henry, made his second court appearance today and was further remanded when he was taken to the New Amsterdam Magistrates Court on a murder charge. Henry is accused of killing Errol Lindo of Caracas Village on Wednesday, April 16 at Caracas. On Monday, Police Prosecutor Sergeant Godfrey Plater asked the court for the matter to be adjourned for 2 months. He told Magistrate Shardel Isaacs Marcus that although the file was returned from the Director of Public Prosecution at DPP, it had to be sent back to the DPP office for final advice. The police sergeant noted that at the time the file was sent to the DPP, all of the relevant information was not documented and therefore it had to be returned for more work. A John Finance Limited employee today appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari, slapped with 2 charges. The first charge read that on April 24, 2014, Mickey Andrews unlawfully assaulted Nicholas Kisoon, while the second read that on the same day, Andrews stole a cell phone worth $37,000, which belonged to the said Kisoon. The defendant, who was unrepresented and pleaded not guilty to both charges, told the court that he was previously charged for robbery under arms. Andrews was placed on $10,000 and $40,000 bail for the assault and larceny charges. He is to make another court appearance in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Geeta Chandan Edmond on May 7, 2014. Still in the courts, a 23-year-old boxing trainer today appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari, charged with the possession of cannabis. The charge alleged that on April 26, 2014 in Allboys Town, Janelle Hope was found in possession of 16 grams of cannabis. The woman, who gave her address at 116 Bar Street, Independence Boulevard, was unrepresented and pleaded not guilty. Facts in the matter state that in the day in question, at about 11 hours 30, the police were conducting anti-narcotics exercise in and around Georgetown. Acting on information, the ranks went to a boxing center in Allboys Town where they saw Hope sitting with a haversack on her back. The ranks then carried out a search on the haversack, which resulted in several white paper parcels being found. An arrest was made and Hope was taken to the Allboys Town police station. Police prosecutor Michael Grant objected to bail under no special circumstances, and Hope was remanded until May 29, 2014, when she will make another court appearance in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Faith McGusty. In case you've just joined us, this is the evening news, where we now take a look at your bridge reports. The Damar Harbour Bridge will be closed on Tuesday, April 29 at 5 hours for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Tuesday, April 29 at 16 hours 50 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the ferry is slated to depart Purika at 17 hours and Supanam at 17 hours tomorrow, Tuesday, April 29, 2014. Now for some news from the region. The Communications Workers Union says it will oppose moves by the British telecommunications company Cable and Wireless to seek majority control of the state-owned telecommunications services of Trinidad and Tobago, the TSTT. The CW President Joseph Remy said that Cable and Wireless had written to Finance Minister Larry Hawaii, promising a number of projects which the telecommunications company would be prepared to undertake to the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Internationally, a suicide bombing at a rally in northeastern Iraq has killed 30 people, security officials say. The attack took place at a political gathering in the town of Kanakwin, which has a large Kurdish population. At least 50 others were injured in the blast, reports said. Iraqis are voting in the country's first parliamentary election since the withdrawal of U.S. troops almost 3 years ago, but it comes amid the worst unrest since 2008. This is the evening news. Stay tuned for sports, sponsored by Macor. Welcome back to the evening news. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. Overtime win for Alpha United in the Milko football final. PPPC hails performance of Junior Carifta Games team. Dinah Ravens outplay All-Star team, and GFF head survives no confidence motion. Of course, our sportcast comes to the kind compliments of Maccorp.
This is the machine you asked for, and it's what we are delivering. Introducing the new CAT D2 series.
Improvements made with you in mind. A mechanically controlled engine designed to cope with Guyana's toughest conditions. Lower fuel consumption and less maintenance, which reduces your owning and operating costs. The highest productivity in the market. Robust design, which is built to last. Maccorp, the only authorized Caterpillar dealer in Guyana, bringing integrated solutions for your success. Let's build Guyana together.
Now for the details. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, Clement Rohi, today congratulated the national teams that participated in the recently concluded Junior Carifta Games. The Guyanese finished 4th overall in the Games, which was hosted by Martinique. Tristan Joseph reports.
The People's Progressive Party salutes the Guyana team which participated in the recently concluded Carifta Games held in Martinique. Congratulations are extended in particular to Cassie George, who won 2 gold medals in the 1500 meter and the 3,000-meter competitions, and Kadesia Beard for winning a gold and silver medal at the 400 meters and 200 meters respectively.
General Secretary Clement Rohi also went on to note that the government's input in young people was demonstrated through the performance of the team.
The growth and success of Cassie and Kadesia and our other outstanding budding sportsmen and women are testament to the heavy investment the PPP government has made towards the development of our young people and sports in general.
Further, Rohi, who congratulated the other members of the team as well, believes that the synthetic track will enhance the sport.
We are confident that the investments in the world-class synthetic athletic track at Lenora on the west coast of Demerara will boost even further our athletes' performance. Our growth in sports over the years vindicates the PPP's position that investments in young people is a worthwhile allocation of resources.
The fourth place finish by Guyana was its highest placing in the meet's history.
Now some football news. Overtime was required to separate eventual champions Alpha United and the Guyana Defence Force in the final of the Namilco One Love Football Classic on Sunday evening at the GFC ground border. In the third place playoff, host club Fruta Conquerors outplayed Rhythm Squad 4-2. Details in this report. The two teams toiled for the entire duration of 90 minutes without scoring a goal, forcing the game to extra time to decide the winner. As they battled for the elusive goal, there were several missed opportunities as both teams came agonizingly close to scoring. However, it was Alpha United who found success through Mark Miller, who ended as the game's only scorer, his strike in the 121st minute, handing the Georgetown-based side the $1.2 million top prize. The victory solidified Alpha United's status as the competition's most successful team with 4 titles under their belt. In the third place playoff, Fruta Conquerors defeated Rhythm Squad 4-2. At the conclusion of the competition, Chief Executive Officer of Namilco, Bart Sukai, declared that the final was one of the best in the tournament's history. He also pointed out that the event was an overall success in 2014.
I think it's very exciting. I mean, we're very pleased with the crowd turnout tonight. Maybe it's the venue, but you know, it was really the best final that we've ever had in the tournament over the 7 years. Organization of it, right through, it went perfect. The teams played very competitively, and the finals, I think, as I said, was one of the best we've had over the years.
President of the Fruta Conquerors Club, Wayne Ford, pointed out that they will be working along with Namilco to make the tournament the #1 club competition in Guyana.
As I mentioned a few weeks ago when the tournament was like 50% completed, our aim is to make the Namilco tournament the #1 tournament in the country. And I think that tonight's results, the atmosphere that we had tonight is a catalyst to that goal. So we have learned a lot over the past couple of years, and we're going to take all the experience that we've gained, put it together, and I think next year we're going to deliver a tournament to the Guyana footballing public that's going to be considered the #1 tournament.
Namilco injected $5 million into this year's competition, a sponsorship package that has steadily increased since the first year when the company had invested $1.6 million. The Ordinary Congress of the Guyana Football Federation, the GFF, will reconvene in 45 days after President of the local governing body for football, Christopher Matthias, on Saturday survived a no-confidence motion at the Regency Suites Hotel on Hatfield Street. The Congress was a heated one from the onset as the leading local football executives sat down to discuss the state of the affairs as regards the game's administration. The reconvening of the Congress was arrived at by Matthias, who sought to settle differences between the discontented associations following a walking out and subsequent returning of 6 associations during the Congress. The associations withdrew after the no-confidence motion against Matthias, which was filed by the East Bank Football Association and seconded by the East Coast Football Association, was discarded following a 9-9 tie at the voting. This newscast understands that the no-confidence motion did not follow the protocols required for the filing of such, and it did not state a reason for the motion, nor did it contain a letterhead or returning address. Now for some basketball news. The Dinah Ravens Basketball Club is definitely the top club in Guyana after their latest victory over an all-star team on Saturday evening at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall. Tristan Joseph witnessed the action and filed this report.
With just 14.2 seconds remaining, Akeem the Dream Kanai swished 2 free throws to defeat the All-Star team 59-58 in a thriller of a game. Despite the many power outages that plagued the evening, both teams delivered a game that had the fans in the arena buzzing throughout the entire encounter. However, late in the fourth, All-Star Stephon Gillis sank a dagger from beyond the arc to put the All-Stars up by 2 before Kanai hit 1 of 2 free throws to bring the game to 58-57. All-Star Shelroy Thomas would then miss 2 crucial free throws that would have extended the lead before Kanai's game-winning shots at the charity stripe. Kanai would end the night with 16 points and 9 rebounds, while Ryan Stephanie ended with 11 points. Shane Webster would end with a team-high 11 points for the All-Star team. Meanwhile, in the pre-game matchups, the senior females topped the junior females 44-38. The Pleasance Guardians defeated the Panthers 23-21, while Pepsi Sonics dropped the Republic Bank Nets 46-30 to cap off the All-Star evening.
Finally, some cricket news. Kings 11 Punjab remain the only unbeaten team in the Pepsi IPL, beating the Royal Challengers Bangalore by 5 wickets in the final match of the United Arab Emirates leg. Batting first, the Challengers were given a rousing start by Christopher Gale, playing his first match of the tournament as he blasted 20 from the first over from Glenn Maxwell. However, that was all Gale contributed as they lost wickets at regular intervals, making 124 for 8. Yuvraj Singh made 35 as Sandeep Sharma took 3 for 15. In reply, Kings 11 reached a target at 127 for 5 in 18.5 overs, with Virender Sehwag making 32 and David Miller 26. The IPL will continue tomorrow with the Kolkata Knight Riders playing the Rajasthan Royals. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by MarkCorp.
This is the machine you asked for, and it's what we are delivering. Introducing the new CAT D2 series.
Improvements made with you in mind. A mechanically controlled engine designed to cope with Guyana's toughest conditions. Lower fuel consumption and less maintenance, which reduces your owning and operating costs. The highest productivity in the market. Robust design, which is built to last. MarkCorp, the only authorized Caterpillar dealer in Guyana, bringing integrated solutions for your success. Let's build Guyana together.
Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. And with that, we've come to the end of the evening news for Monday, April 28, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.